Save Me Mr. Tako is the creation of French indie developer Christophe Galati. I apologize if I butchered your name. The plot centers on our titular character Mr. Tako as he fights to end the conflict between octopuses and humans. The story deals with themes of intolerance and acceptance inspired by the developer's own life experiences. There's an impressive amount of depth to the game's universe, where I found myself reading every line of dialogue. There's no denying that the most striking aspect of the game's presentation is the cute visuals designed to replicate the original Game Boy. By default, the game uses the black and green colors that characterize the system, but if you prefer something else, you can cycle through 16 different color schemes that simulate the experience of playing on the Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance. You can also play this game in a 4x3 mode with wallpapers reminiscent of the Super Game Boy. Mr. Tako follows the traditional 2D platformer templates with one button for jumping and another one for attacking, but instead of killing enemies, your attacks will freeze them temporarily. This also plays into the game's platforming mechanics, as frozen enemies can be used to reach higher spots. The freezing mechanic might sound simple on paper, but it gives the game a unique feel compared to other 2D platformers. The only other major gameplay element is the hat system. Throughout the game, you'll uncover 50 unique pieces of headgear, each with their own special abilities. This also allows you to gain access to new parts of the stage similar to Castlevania and Metroid. Most levels will only take around 2 or 3 minutes, but the larger dungeons offer complex puzzles and exploration in the vein of Zelda. The first world is an absolute cakewalk, but the difficulty will quickly ramp up. While the game contains a generous checkpoint system, there are times where death leans towards the cheap side. Yes, the game allows you to scope the ground below by holding down the directional pad, but I still found it hard to avoid cheap deaths when I was forced to take the leap of faith. Finishing the main campaign will take around 5 hours, while completionists can spend upwards of 8 hours tackling every side quest and tracking down every piece of Mr. Tako's wardrobe. Despite the occasional pet peeve, I had a lot of fun with Mr. Tako. It's not often we see an indie game taking inspiration from the original Game Boy, nor do we see one with a deep storyline. If some of the levels were tweaked to make them less frustrating, Mr. Tako would no doubt sit alongside the other great indie mascots like Shantae and Shovel Knight. The game isn't perfect, but it's definitely something fans of the Game Boy should consider playing.